I don't get it. I'm lost. What do you mean? These phrases might get the job done, but they can be boring and overused. In today's video, we're going to spice up your vocabulary with 10 advanced ways to say, I don't understand. So let's ditch the basic phrases and learn something new. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Why Not Academy. My name is Sarah. Today, I'm going to talk about some advanced ways to say, I don't understand. Using different phrases can really help you improve your communication and make you sound more sophisticated. It's not just about sounding smart, it's about making your conversations more interesting and professional. So let's jump in and explore 10 advanced phrases to express confusion. Stick around and let's level up your English together. All right, let's dive into our first segment, advanced expressions of uncertainty. Here are the first 3 phrases. Number 1, I'm not sure I grasp the full context. In a meeting, if someone is explaining a complex project and you're not fully understanding the details, you could say, I'm not sure I grasp the full context. Could you explain it further? This phrase is polite and shows that you're trying to understand the broader picture. It indicates that you need more information to fully comprehend the subject. Number 2, that concept is a bit elusive to me. If a colleague explains a new strategy that you find difficult to understand, you might say, that concept is a bit elusive to me. Can you break it down? This phrase highlights that the idea is difficult to understand or grasp. It's a sophisticated way to ask for clarification without sounding too direct. Number 3, I'm having difficulty comprehending that. For example, during a training session, if the instructor is going too fast, you could say, I'm having difficulty comprehending that. Could you go over it again? This phrase directly expresses that you're finding it hard to understand the material. It's a straightforward way to ask for a repeat explanation. So what are the subtle differences between these phrases? This phrase focuses on understanding the overall context or background information rather than just a specific point. This phrase suggests that the concept is somewhat slippery or hard to pin down, implying that it might be abstract or complex. And this phrase is more direct and straightforward, focusing on the immediate difficulty in understanding a specific point or piece of information. Next, let's move on to segment 2, detailed requests for elaboration. Here are the next 3 phrases. Number 1, could you elucidate that further? If you are in a lecture and the professor introduces a complex theory, you might say, could you elucidate that further? I'm not quite getting it. Could you elucidate that further? I'm not quite getting it. This phrase is a formal and sophisticated way of asking for more detailed explanation. It shows that you're engaged and seeking a deeper understanding. You can use this phrase in academic or professional settings where a thorough explanation is needed to grasp intricate details. Number 2, could you shed more light on this? For example, during a project discussion, if a team member presents a confusing proposal, you might say, could you shed more light on this part of your plan? This phrase implies that you need additional information or clarification to fully understand a particular aspect of the discussion. It is useful in both formal and informal settings when you need more information to make sense of something. Number 3, I'm not entirely clear on that point. For example, if a mentor gives advice that seems ambiguous, you might say, I'm not entirely clear on that point. Can you give an example? This phrase indicates that you have understood most of the information, but need just a little bit more details on a specific part to gain complete clarity. Use this phrase when you need clarification on a specific detail rather than the entire explanation. Now, let's move on to part 3, expressing deep confusion. Here are the final 4 phrases. Number 1, that went over my head. Let's say you're in a technical meeting and someone uses a lot of jargon. You might say, that went over my head. Can you simplify it for me? This phrase indicates that the information was too complex or fast-paced for you to understand. It suggests a need for the speaker to break down the information into simpler terms. You can use this phrase when you feel completely lost or overwhelmed by the complexity of the information. Number 2, I find that a bit perplexing. If a colleague presents an unexpected strategy that seems confusing, you might say, I find that a bit perplexing. Could you explain the reasoning behind it? This phrase communicates that you are puzzled by the information and need further explanation to understand it fully. It is a polite way to express confusion in both professional and casual conversations, signaling that you need more clarity. Number 3, I'm not fully on board with that idea. Let's say during a brainstorming session, if a new concept doesn't make sense to you, you could say, I'm not fully on board with that idea. Can you elaborate on how it would work? This phrase shows that you have reservations about the idea due to a lack of understanding. It invites the speaker to provide more details and clarification. You can use this phrase when you need to express doubt or hesitation and request additional information to understand better. Number 4, that explanation isn't resonating with me. If someone is explaining a new process and you can't relate to it, you might say, that explanation isn't resonating with me. Can you give a different example? This phrase indicates that the explanation doesn't make sense to you and you need a different perspective or example to understand. It is useful in scenarios where you need the speaker to approach the explanation from a different angle to help you grasp the content. Great job following along! Let's quickly recap the 10 advanced phrases we've learned to say I don't understand. I'm not sure I grasp the full context. That concept is a bit elusive to me. I'm having difficulty comprehending that. Could you elucidate that further? Could you shed more light on this? I'm not entirely clear on that point. That went over my head. I find that a bit perplexing. I'm not fully on board with that idea. That explanation isn't resonating with me. Using these different phrases can really help you communicate more effectively and make you sound more fluent and natural. It's important to switch up your language because it shows that you're engaged and eager to understand. By using these phrases, you'll be able to handle complex conversations with more confidence and professionalism. Remember, the more diverse your vocabulary, the better you can express yourself in any situation. So keep practicing these phrases and try to use them in your daily interactions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found these advanced phrases helpful and that you're feeling more confident about expressing yourself in English. I also want to take a moment to thank you all for your amazing support. I've recently broken the 16K subscribers mark. I'm honestly shocked and incredibly grateful to have so many of you here. I started this channel as an extended resource for my own students and never expected to draw in such a large audience from all over the world. Thank you all for all your likes, comments, and all the time and attention you give to my videos. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more English learning videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.